The Curious Couple, episode 39.
You're tuned into The Curious Couple for the Curious Ear with your hosts, TNA. Get ready to have your curiosity piqued while exploring what it's like to live out fantasies with this fun, fit, and sexy duo.
Welcome back. I'm T.
And I'm A.
And we are doing a Desire podcast aftermath after our 4-part series of our trip to Desire.
The Hangover.
The Hangover, yes. So some of you have listened to part 4, episode 38. We had to take it down. That was our choice. It wasn't necessarily being censored by some authority, but we chose to take it down to protect those that were mentioned in the podcast that may be adversely affected by that podcast. And so we're sorry about that.
Too bad, because it was my best one.
Yeah, A did most of the talking. I got a chance to speak up a little bit in the podcast.
Like twice.
What was that?
Like twice.
Yeah. But we may post a version of that, so you may see that pop back up. But as for right now, it's down, and this is the Aftermath show. So
it's no joke that you have a hangover, because normally after a vacation, like getting back to the normal routine, kids, work, all that normal stuff is hard. But after coming back from Desire for us, I mean, that was our first lifestyle trip, and coming back to having to put clothes on was really hard for me. I mean, it truly was hard. It wasn't like, oh, I just want to be naked, but you just start looking around and you just question this world that we live in. Like, why do we cover up? Why do we have to hide who we really are? It was hard for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It really was.
Well, it's like a different reality.
Yeah.
We have to go back to being clothed and jobs.
Well, and you just realize
routines.
how carefree this environment was, and how awesome it is to just be completely surrounded by these like-minded people, and we don't have that in our normal lives. So I remember sitting in a meeting that next morning, just kind of evaluating the people in the room, going, ugh, this sucks. So I'm well adjusted now. We're a month out, so
yeah,
I'm okay now.
Yeah. So in the past podcasts, we were asking for listener feedback, and we really appreciate all the emails and tweets, comments, questions. We will be addressing a lot of those questions tonight on this podcast, but we really appreciate that feedback. And apparently our third podcast of our Desire trip struck some nerves out there. We had even friends of ours that emailed us about listening to the show, and how as we were duking it out, so to speak.
Oh, that's right. I was trying to figure out what you were talking about.
Yeah, our fight night.
Yeah.
Our friends even shared that they were kind of arguing for our sake as well in their own.
Got a little heated.
Yeah. And really our first ever haters. I mean, we were getting some hate mail with that too.
You were getting some hate mail. Let's clarify here.
Yeah.
If we're gonna pick sides.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It was real. It was hate mail.
Well, but you act like it was a lot. It really wasn't.
No, it wasn't. And ultimately, what I was going to share about it was it was a little surprising to get any type of negative feedback, because we've gotten so much positive feedback, and it we like to people please, and it's a little hard to hear that not everyone loves us or likes us or what we're doing, but it was a little reminder that we're reaching a bigger audience, and not everybody that listens to us is lifestyle or open to the lifestyle or understands the lifestyle. And it was, I guess, just a reminder that we're reaching different folks. And the truth is, it kind of set me back for a moment, and then I realized, you know what, I'm just going to keep being me, and we're just going to keep being us.
Well, at the end of the day, we're not going to bed with any of those people.
Right.
I mean, we turn this off and it's just us. So
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, we care, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't get caught up in what people think of you. You can't make everybody happy.
Mm-hmm. That is true. So, along the lines of all the love that we've been getting, we're going to address some of the emails that you guys sent us about the podcast, or about our trip, or about Desire. So, and we've got followers in the UK that were asking for a shout out on this show. So,
oh yeah, are you going to read their email?
To our UK followers. Yeah, so let's jump into the first one here. In fact, they are from the UK. We'll refer to them as D and S, and it was actually a really long email and really sweet of them. They're loyal listeners, and they ask, how do you manage to juggle, on one hand, dealing with kids and other family responsibilities, and on the other hand, maintaining your lifestyle? Let me go on and finish it. I'm intrigued. For the past 25 years, we've not had the privacy, time, or resources to easily live any more exciting a lifestyle than we have had. Fortunately, we're now emerging from that phase, but at age 53, we need to hurry to make the most of the prime of our lives.
You need some help?
Well, I realize my eyes are going, and I think
Maybe
you should read the rest of these.
I probably should read the rest of those.
Please don't think I regret how things have been. Okay, yada.
Speaking of getting older.
All right.
I think we get the gist of it.
Yeah. So how do you maintain the balance between the lifestyle and the kids and the responsibilities and real life?
We have a unique situation because we have other parents for our children. They're not ours together. So we do have...
They are young, though.
They are young, and they are involved. I mean, don't get me wrong. We would probably do a lot more of this traveling and things like that if we didn't have them. They do limit us some, but we can get time together without them fairly easily, probably a lot easier than it is for most. But I also think that just like anything, if you make it a priority and it's something important in your life, you make time for it. I mean, just like our time at the gym, you make time for it. It may not be, we're not going to go to Desire 5 times a year like we would like to, but it would probably be pretty easy for most families to find sitters for an extended weekend here and there. Or even, I don't remember all the details of that, but was it traveling related, or just how do you balance it?
How do you balance it? Yeah, so, I realize this probably wasn't the best first question of the bunch, because it's not necessarily directly related to Desire, although their email was more about that. But
it was inspired by that,
yeah.
though.
But I would just kind of agree with what you're saying. I think it's a matter of, you can really do anything if you make it a priority.
Yeah, it just has to be a priority.
And I think not necessarily that, swinging has to be a priority, but I think balancing the things that are healthy for you and the things that you want to do, and doing things for yourself, I think that's important. And
we realized early in our relationship that is something that enriches our relationship. I think they've been married for several years. They've never even done anything lifestyle related. So for them, that may be date night, and they probably have that. Or they take trips together, or whatever that is. We just translate that into lifestyle stuff, because that's what's important to us. And it's not even, that sounds like I have this list of priorities and it's way up there. It's not. But when we're talking about things that enrich our relationship, it's up there.
Definitely.
It's something we make time for. And along the lines of, we got another email. This just reminded me. Maybe it would have helped if I read your notes closer before. But remember, we got another email that was Desire related that wasn't on your list, about someone asking if we saw any pregnant people there.
That's on the list.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, we'll get there then.
Yeah, you need to review the show notes before we start. But that kind of rolls on.
I was thinking along the lines of, how do you make it a priority? And that's something that we have discussed recently, with the thoughts of, do we want to have another one in the next few years, and would that change our lifestyle experiences? And it would, but I think you still make it a priority, because it would still be something important to our relationship.
All right. So the next email came from Sexy St. Louis couple. So this is specifically about Desire. We know there's a disco, a hot tub, bed area, and some that see some action. But what about throughout the day? Can you have sex in the open? Is it permitted? Do you see it happening? Let's answer those first. So they're aware that sex happens, but does it happen throughout the day?
It does, but you have to kind of seek it out. I don't think we ever even...
We never really ventured up to the hot tub during the day, but supposedly...
we heard, that there's people up there in the afternoon. They have beds up there, so there's nothing permitted in the pool area.
Right.
But it is up in the hot tub area, and it opens sometime in the afternoon, but we were always at the pool. So, yes, it happens. Did we see it? No.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I saw any type of sexual
I think we went
activity.
up there one afternoon, like
I
right
just
before.
went at the pool, like any type of
no.
touching or nothing sex related. Maybe just some massaging.
Some massaging, I mean, there were some hanging on people in the pool, just normal stuff, but no sexual activity.
Yeah. All right.
Do you want me to read those? Or
no, I turned up the brightness. I can see it a lot better now. They are curious what it would be like if they didn't necessarily plan to swing. Is it a nice resort? Would it make for a good vacation spot if not planning on swinging at all?
Yeah.
I think that's an absolutely yes. Like, we would have had a blast there if we weren't having sex.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be in this open, free environment. And I think one of the and again, I've probably said this on many podcasts before, one of the best things about the lifestyle is the fact you go into a lifestyle event, party, meet and greet, club, resort, and you instantly make friends. Yeah. We could go to a resort, maybe even the one next door to this, and spend a week there and not meet a single person.
Well, we were sitting, where were we? Were we at dinner? I think maybe we were at dinner, and you pointed out, you were like, look around at all these... Was it dinner? I don't even remember where we were, but everybody was just sitting around, just having their own conversations and not interacting with anybody else. And you said, if we were sitting eating dinner at Desire, like everybody would be talking to each other and making friends. And it's just such a different...
It's a much more social
world.
Environment.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else to explain it, because it's not necessarily that I notice that I miss that or need that like throughout my day, but I really appreciate that when I'm in these environments.
It's fun.
And so I think if the two of us just booked this trip, and if we were just at the beginning stages of, having conversations about doing something wild and crazy, this place would be awesome to go to.
Or not even. Yeah. Or you just enjoy people watching. Or, I think back to 4 years ago, when we just were going to these clubs just to take in the sights and just, listen and look. And that would have been mind-blowing to be at Desire. But it would not have been uncomfortable. And I think that's probably what they're asking. Like, is there any pressure to do something? Or do you feel like you're the odd man out if you're just keeping to yourself? No, not at all.
Well, or if you're not comfortable taking off your suit. Like, you can keep your suit on. Well, we were also talking to some experienced swingers who wanted to have sex with us. Who thought I was prude.
Yeah.
But no, if we went there and we weren't comfortable taking our suits off, I think if you weren't comfortable being topless, that might have been weird.
Yeah, it would have been weird, but it wouldn't. Nobody would say anything.
No,
to you.
No, it'd be. Actually, no. There was a couple there where the woman kept her top on. The one that didn't speak English, and the guy kept hanging out with us. She was pretty.
Oh yeah.
She never took her suit off. So I guess
it has a magical way of like making you feel comfortable.
Because so many people are there comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
You become more comfortable in your own.
Totally.
Yeah.
By the last night we were there, which little recap for those of you who didn't get to the podcast in time, I had gone from kind of risque to I'm going to just go naked. I mean, I didn't, but I would have. I was just so comfortable everywhere without any clothes on. And I don't know, it has a magical way of making you feel comfortable in your skin.
Yeah. It's just a very sexy environment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So moving on to the next email, there isn't a question, but we definitely should at least tell a little bit of the story of the friends that we made from the second podcast up in the hot tub. the Canadian couple,
Yeah.
who we had a lot of fun with. They found us. They found the podcast. We didn't exchange.
Just briefly, in case nobody heard that podcast, I'll recap. Super, super sexy girl. And I think they even made it pretty clear that they were fairly new to the lifestyle. This may have been their first trip, right? And she was super sexy, really into making out with me. There was a lot of girl on girl stuff. This is late in the evening. Yeah, this is hot tub like midnight, 1, 2.
Oh, later.
I don't even know. 3.
2 or 3.
It was so late, and everybody's had a lot to drink. And this was after we had a pretty negative experience with that we got duped. Go back and listen to number 2. It's a great story. So I wasn't in the right space, and I was kind of done, and I let it go on for a little while, and I thought, okay, I wasn't comfortable with it going any further for my personal reasons. Had nothing to do with them. But fast forward, they find our podcast. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we had a good time with them that night, and then we didn't. I think we may have briefly seen them the next night, but we didn't exchange numbers, didn't exchange
we didn't
emails.
talk to them a whole lot.
And they stumbled onto our podcast and sent us an email like, holy shit.
Which I have to say, just like I told them, I don't purposely keep that from people.
Right.
But I also don't walk around
with a sign on your
Hi,
chest.
I do a lifestyle podcast. It's not something that defines who we are.
When it comes up or when it's necessary,
we talked
bring
about
it up.
Yeah, because people would be talking about crazy stories or whatever, and we'd be like, hey, listen to this.
Yeah.
We
was
have
it the
a podcast.
First or second night we told the Californians and the Florida folks.
So if it gets brought up, it gets brought up. And, and I think our friends from Canada, we never told. It just didn't ever really feel like the right time to talk about it. I don't know. But anyway, long story short, he sends us an email, which was awesome. But there was a part of me that was like, oh my gosh, I hope that I didn't say anything that upset them, because truthfully, I pulled the plug on the night, and they could have taken that very personally, and I'm glad they didn't.
Well, have you listened to the podcast?
I did, but
without having that in mind.
Without that, I did listen to it.
Well, the truth was, everyone was really
drunk.
So there was no, even if worse things were said, we were still in a incapacitated state. So,
but anyway, hey guys, if you're listening, hi.
So anyways, they sent us a really cool email, and we've had some emails back and forth, and that was just neat that they
couple
randomly found us.
It's so cool to meet people literally all over the world, but then we get these email exchanges. What?
My mind's blown imagining them going, we just had this great time in Desire. We get home, I just happen to find this new podcast, and I listen to it, and I'm like, oh my God,
that's me.
That's them, and they're talking about me.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be totally weird.
That would freak me the hell out.
I know. Well, and that's why we were just talking about this the other day when we were talking about, being discreet and having a podcast. I always try to think, whatever we're talking about, those people are sitting here listening. And that's hard to do sometimes, especially when the story of the couple that we met right before we went up to the hot tub, that was a crazy story. And not that we gave out any identifiers, but it's still not something they would want to hear back. It wasn't a pleasant exchange.
But in that scenario though, too, we were duped.
Yeah.
And so I didn't,
you didn't feel bad not protecting them. No. And I really didn't either.
We didn't use names. There was no specifics, but I didn't have a problem sharing that story.
But it's still a delicate balance sometimes to tell, like our podcast number 4, tell awesome, juicy, great stories, but then you have to worry about how that's going to be perceived too, or who's going to get caught in the crossfire.
Who's listening, or who's the innocent bystander.
Yeah. And we did figure out just how many listeners we have through all that. It surprised me a little. So,
okay.
Fun stuff.
Speaking of...
Sorry, you can go back to that.
No, it's all right. We just touched on it. I was just going to say it was cool how they just found us through the podcast. So another thing about Desire, if you're going to Desire, you're going to want to find the forums. They're super helpful, and you can connect with folks that are going at the same time, because there's certain rooms for, people who are going in December or January or February. And so anyways, that was I don't know if we've mentioned that in any of the podcasts, but
we did a little bit when we were getting ready for it, because I read them pretty thoroughly. before we went, because there's a lot of, what do I pack? Do I wear this? When do I wear
Right.
that? And
A lot of
we got a
questions.
couple emails like that too. What about the theme nights? How does that work? So there's a lot of that stuff in the forums.
All right.
But if you are packing for Desire for the first time, pack your bag completely and then take half of it out, because you're not going to need it.
Yeah,
That's next time we will travel much lighter.
good point. All right, next email from Mel. Mel writes, what type of soft swap is common in Desire? I would like to discuss these boundaries before going.
Or the planning a trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one, because we were there for 5 days out of 365 days, and I think every day was different.
Yeah.
It's just like any other place you go with a group of lifestyle folks. You're going to have different people that are into different things.
Yeah.
But I understand what they're asking.
Here's, I agree with that sentiment that every day is a different experience. But here's a couple of things you can probably count on more. If it's a takeover by a lifestyle group, you're probably going to get a little bit more freakiness out of those folks.
Well, because they're all going to be lifestyle.
Yeah.
Or most of them probably.
We went at a time where there wasn't, and it was a mix of nudists and lifestyle folks. It kind of everywhere in between that. And what we saw, we obviously had some wild and crazy times of full swapping, but there was also less than that. And there was, people having any type of experience with another couple as that was their first time was then. But I think the common thing I would think would be mostly when women play.
There seemed to be, at least when we were there seemed to be a lot of couples that was their comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
That was what they were intrigued by or whatever. So I would say if they haven't done that, maybe at least discuss that. Is that something that might be fun? Because that opportunity will definitely present itself.
Well, and if this is a point of concern for them, there shouldn't be any concern. No one's going to make them do anything.
Oh, no.
And also, you're just going to go to your comfort level, whatever you're willing to try. And that may change by the day while you're there. That may change by after dinner, in fact, I'm thinking of the Denver couple we met, and I think they were the ones that said, we're not lifestylers, but we come here and we have fun.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a shrug of his shoulders, and we see them up in the pool or in the hot tub late night, and his wife is either going down on a girl or making out, and he was suggesting her to go down on me. And it was like, well, we're just, playing. Like
they were just, they were riding the energy of the night, because prior to that, she was running the body shot show
right.
at the bar. And, man, what a fun podcast that was that we had to take down.
You're just a tease. You keep teasing.
Well, to recap that briefly, we were taking body shots. Gosh, it feels like the whole time we were up there. It was so much fun. We were covered in chocolate syrup and all kinds of things.
The more you tease, the more I realize I need to go back and edit it and get something out there for them.
Yeah.
So you guys may see a part of that episode show up.
It was a fun night.
So anyways, back to the soft swap thing. It's really to your comfort level.
Yeah.
It may just be making out. In fact, the Canadian couple we were talking about that found us and emailed us, literally their excitement that night was maybe they will make out with another couple.
Yeah.
And
they would have gone all the way.
Yeah, it sounds like they talked about it afterwards. So, in fact, I think we had a few emails of people telling us not to overthink it when we went.
Well, but just as well as anybody else about overthinking. I mean, I think we've gotten better at that with the more experiences, but think back to us 4 years ago talking about all this before we went to a club.
I just listened to the first 7 episods again this past week.
So you're fresh. So about overthinking, because just going to a club and something, the first time that was it the full swap
Yeah.
time when we didn't have that discussion on the way there, and then suddenly I'm comfortable with it. You're like, whoa. So, I mean, you have to appreciate where he's at.
Oh,
they
yeah.
want to talk about it all. They want to play. So really, whatever you can imagine, you could probably find there.
Yeah.
I mean, name it. So
To the extreme and to the mild and meek.
Right.
Like just making out with a girl, or, the girl's just making out. It could be.
And this is, I mean, we walked into that place looking around like, well, it's just going to be me and you hanging out at the beach. Like, we didn't walk in and go, we're going to have the time of our lives here. And we had the time of our lives. So expect the unexpected and just talk about it all and play it out and test your feelings, and then just go have a good time.
Well, and it'll be a fun adventure for the two of them, and it'll be memorable no matter what it is.
Part of the fun would be talking your way through the whole week. Like, what if we did this and what if we did that? I mean, that alone would be exciting and fun, even if you didn't so much as talk to another person.
All right, let's move on to Jay. Jay writes, I'm a couple of months... Jay is a girl. I'm a couple of months pregnant and wondering if we could have a good time there for our baby moon. Were there any pregnant people at the resort? Besides the staff, were there any people of color, or was the crowd mostly white? I remember seeing 2 people of color.
Yeah.
But mostly it was white. There must be a lot of Mexican folks that go, because everything was spoken first in Spanish and then in English.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we saw 2 couples that were African American.
Yeah, I feel like there was some, I don't know, there was a lot of Spanish speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't remember. But I would say predominantly white when we were there.
Mm-hmm. And then, as far as the pregnant thing,
I love this. I love that.
I think
go girl.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think I mean, no, I didn't see anybody that was pregnant.
If she's comfortable with it, that's all that matters.
Well, and somebody's into that too. I mean, I don't know how far they're taking it.
Yeah, we don't know if that's what they're looking for.
I don't know if that's what they're looking for.
We're here for the pregnant gangbang.
But the discussions have come up, and I'm just saying somebody's probably into that.
Okay.
I might hit my prime during a pregnancy is all I'm saying. Email me.
Yeah, I don't think that should stop you.
No.
I think that would be something, if you're comfortable with, if you want to be naked in that state, more power to you. Nobody will even bat an eye.
No.
Just don't get too rowdy in the water volleyball. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that topic, and I've talked about a little bit, maybe a topic on a later podcast.
Yeah. We're going to take a vote.
Take a poll.
Yeah. It is something though that I'm curious to talk to more people in the lifestyle. So if anybody wants to shoot me an email, because I guess I don't want to say most, but a lot of our friends in the podcast world and in the lifestyle world that we talk to are older. Their kids are older, but there's a big group of people our age, and I'm curious, what do people that are in the lifestyle, what do they do? We've talked to a few even that have just put their, like, I think it was SDC, we got emails from a couple. Do you remember that? And they just put things on hold.
Yeah, they're like, we'll get back to you in a year.
We'll get back to you in a year. But I'm curious, like, is anybody pregnant and still playing, or do you just cut the cord for a year or so and get back into it, or has being in the lifestyle kept you from having more children? I mean, this is all stuff that nobody really ever, it's not a big
topic of conversation,
but I'm curious.
We're missing, I mean, why didn't we think to talk to the best resource we know about swinging? We need to talk to George.
Oh, geez. Like he knows anything about
Are you
pregnancy.
kidding me? He's probably had sex with pregnant women.
He probably has. In fact, I think I said that. I said, if nobody else will do me, I bet George will.
Alrighty.
Okay,
anything else you want to talk about
times.
with the pregnancy, or can we move on?
No, we can move on.
Okay.
I'm not pregnant, by the way.
Okay.
Okay.
This comes from Matt. This is a pretty interesting email. And Matt, We appreciate your honesty. This is, I guess,
Hashtag real talk.
real talk here. Number 1. My erect penis is very average in size. Not small, not big. When I'm not aroused, though, it's pretty small. I am definitely more of a grower than a shower, kind of like a button mushroom. Will I be in the minority, or will other guys with my predicament be there as well?
Yes.
Guess what?
Yes, they will be there as well. I have to say, though, after the second or third day, I didn't even really notice penis size anymore. But the first day I did, but only because
It was new to you.
it was new to me. I had never been around a room full of naked men, ever, really. I mean,
Other than orgies.
yeah, but even then, I mean, maybe 2 or 3 max.
You haven't spent any time in a men's locker.
No, I haven't. And so to me, I was like, oh my gosh, they come in all different shapes and sizes, and they're everywhere. And not that I was like gawking, but
Yeah, you were.
I kind of was. But my point is,
You were meat gazing.
there were fewer large penises than
Flaccid, large penises.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I mean, nobody's walking around like ready to go or anything.
Right.
But I was more like, my attention was on like the 1 or 2 that, oh my gosh, they've got big penises. There was not very many big penises, is my point. He would fit in.
Yeah. My what I would say is they're all shapes and sizes there. And like you said, after the initial shock of, oh my God, there's naked
Everybody's
people,
naked.
no one really notices or cares.
No.
Really.
I mean, just normal. I'm trying to think of an example. Just sitting on a beach chair, bending over to pick up something out of a bag. I mean, you catch people in these awkward positions, naked, and it's just nobody cares. It's just very normal. It becomes just normal.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. I can't imagine any body shape, any penis size, any breast size feeling uncomfortable there. I really can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least
Unless
not in the
it
crowd
was in
we
your
were
head. I mean, of course you're going to feel insecure, but
Who
I just
gives
don't
a shit?
Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
Yeah.
I don't even know how. I think it's something you have to feel to understand.
All right, moving on. So a second part of his question, and this is another good real talk. In the lifestyle situation, I always make sure to take a Cialis before play. It keeps me harder, longer, and allows me to rebound much quicker. However, for 2 to 3 days after taking it, I seem to be on a quote-unquote high alert. If any fun thoughts creep in my head, it springs to attention. Since at these resorts, we will almost always be naked,
You'll be a hit at the pool.
there's a big chance of one just sprouting out of nowhere. Does this happen often?
I think I saw, because I think I may have even made a comment to you, or you made a comment to me. He must be on Viagra
Yeah.
because he was walking around the pool just boing.
I don't know that it was at high noon.
No,
but
it was
yeah.
alert.
It was awake.
And they sell Cialis in the gift shop.
That's true.
Just FYI,
Yeah.
and in the airport,
That's true.
and Viagra too. I'm sure.
Yeah, I didn't see Viagra in
I
the
saw it at the airport.
at the airport. Yeah, I didn't see it in the gift shop. All right.
So yeah, no shame. Just let it hang.
All right. Thanks for your response. We are not newbies at this. We have been to Colette and Dallas a few times and have played there in front of a crowd. I like to think that my athletic body would make up for any shortcomings in size department, but since my cock will be on my main accessory for a full week, it makes me a little nervous.
Don't
Matt,
worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Not gonna be an issue. All right, and our last email comes from M&C, and I should say it's not our last email. We got quite a bit, and I responded, or both of us, one or the other, responded to quite a few. But possibly, if you did send us an email over the last 4 weeks or so, we might actually be doing a full-on podcast about what you emailed us about, because we did get some really good emails. All right, from M&C. We'd love to hear you talk about any advice and or tips for two newbies in their 30s headed to Desire. To be honest, your bait and switch story is pretty much our fear.
Even that, though, mine too. And yes, it was uncomfortable. But even that, I think we can look back and kind of laugh. And
we're not scarred.
No. You just have to be, I mean, if you have good communication, you're strong unit together, nothing's going to break you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no situation that I can think of that we could have gotten in there that we couldn't just tap out.
So mid-30 is, I want to answer this specifically to them. So they're in their mid-30s. You're most likely going to be one of the youngest couples there.
Yeah.
I think our philosophy is that really doesn't matter.
No.
You know, we enjoy people's company, whether they're our age, younger or older. I would just say my advice would be make friends with everybody. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we both have had this experience where the more we get to know people, the more attraction there is. You know, so whether or not they're attractive, you know, they might be attractive to begin with, or maybe not, but, you know, you build these relationships and more fun is had, the more mm-hmm. people you meet, the more connections you make. And so I would just say specifically to these folks, just being newbies, it doesn't mean you're going to have sex with this old couple you're talking to if you're not attracted to them, but just make friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, not everyone is having sex with everybody. It's just a fun social environment, and that's going to help put you in a fun state of mind, which may open the door to fun activities later, or it may not. It just may lead to a more fun and fulfilling trip all around.
Yeah. If I could go back to the me that was flying to Mexico, I'm thinking, like, what would I say to myself knowing, you know, our experience? And it would be that. It would be it. I don't know that it's easy to control that. That I'm trying to think of the word. Like, I wish I could have walked in there and been as comfortable the first day as I was the last day. But I think you have to warm up to it a little bit.
You don't know it until you're there.
I don't know though. Well, that's true. But if we turned around and went back tomorrow, I would walk in a little differently than I did the first day.
Yeah, and I think that's why people go like 15 times to this place.
I get it. Because we had so much more fun the last night because we walked in there and we were like, we're going to have fun. So try to get into that mindset the second you walk out there. Doesn't matter what happens. And we said that. I don't care what happens, who we talk to, what goes on. We're going to have fun tonight. And we had a freaking blast. And you just kind of have to keep that mindset. Just relax, have a good time. Don't judge a book by its cover, I think would be a good bit of advice, because the couples that we met throughout the trip that we may not have, hey, I really want to go talk to them, or, you know, found attractive, ended up being some of the coolest people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's good advice too, and that's just good advice in general.
You're full of good advice.
I got lots of good advice. What else you need to know?
All right. Well, that's pretty much all we have for the emails. If you guys have listened to these podcasts and are thinking about a trip to Desire, you can go check out the website. Go to our website, thecuriouscouple.com. Click on one of the links to Desire, and that gives us a referral for if you guys choose to book a trip, which would be awesome. If you do that, shoot us an email. Let us know that you guys are going and that we may have helped contribute to your interest in going. It'll be fun for us. But yeah, shoot us emails, feedback. We love it. We appreciate you guys. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Nope, can't think of a thing.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
We'll talk to you later.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Curious Couple Podcast. Go to our website, thecuriouscouple.com, for links to all of our podcast episodes, their show notes, lifestyle website promos, travel deals, and much more. You can find us on Twitter at TheCuriousCPL, as well as email us at thecuriouscpl@gmail.com. Check out Swingers Date Club, otherwise known as SDC.com, and put in our promo code 25648 for your free month trial. To take advantage of this trial, you can also just click the links on our website or on the podcast notes. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. We always appreciate your ratings and reviews. Thanks again.